Alright, so we are now down to our second major topic, which is receivables. We are done with cash and cash equivalents. We also discussed about bank reconciliation and proof of cash. Now, our next objective is to learn the second line item in the statement of financial position, which is trade and other receivables. And the first thing that we are going to study is accounts receivable. Now, receivables in general are financial assets, and they represent a contractual right to receive cash and another financial asset from the other entities. So basically, it is favorable on our part kasi nga we have the right to collect cash in the future or any other asset. And this is considered as an asset. Okay, so in practice, we have this trade and non-trade receivables. So receivables in general are further classified into these two. The trade receivables are obviously those receivables that are in connection with our normal operation or in connection with the business or the ordinary course of the business, whereas non-trade receivables are the other way around. Okay? So those are items na hindi naman siya in line dun sa normal operation ng business. Trade receivables are further classified into these two common types of trade receivables. We have the accounts receivable, the less formal, and the notes receivable. Ito yung meron kang may note na binigay or promissory note na binigay si customer sa'yo. A promise to buy, to pay a certain amount at a certain date. Okay? So, that's our first objective here. So, before we are going to dig deeper or before we apply the concept to the problems, we should know these three basic ideas or concepts on each account that we are going to study. The definition, the recognition, and the measurement. Although some items or some accounts, we will also study the recognition. Pasabot, it means how are we going to eradicate or eliminate or de-recognize, okay, it's the opposite of recognize, de-recognize an account. Okay, so but this time we are going to tackle these three lang muna. So the recognition naman, receivables, like what I've mentioned, these are assets. And most of the time, the accounts receivable and notes receivable or the trade receivables in general are actually current assets, except if they are collectible or they are to be collected more than 2 years from the date of recognition. Okay, they will be considered non-current, of course, kasi more than 12 months. And non-trade receivables naman on the other hand, may iba doon na current asset, may iba din naman na non-current asset. So, to illustrate that one, we are going to discuss some problems to illustrate that concept of defining or distinguishing trade and non-trade receivables, current and non-current receivables. But before that, let us first learn the measurement or how are we going to measure receivables. So basically, we measure receivables initially, okay, from this in the beginning. We are going to measure receivables at a fair value plus transaction costs that are directly attributable to the acquisition. But most of the time, pag yung receivable mo naman is current asset siya, okay? We no longer need to ask the experts para kunin or hindi na natin kailangan ipa-assess pa ang receivable para malaman ng fair value. It's simply the face amount of the receivable. So, kung pila ang utang, maura gyud to siya. Hindi na siya katulad nung land. Of course, di ba? If you could remember, pag nag-contribute ta og land sa company, sa partnership, di ba? Tutong na-discuss po last time or even in sole proprietorship, if we contribute land to the entity, we are going to record it at fair value. So, we are going to examine muna or ipapa-examine na muna, ipapa-assess natin kung magkano ang fair value. But when it comes to accounts receivable, since short-term naman siya, hindi siya masyadong affected ng inflation or deflation ba or any other factors that could change the face amount of our our accounts receivable. So hindi siya katulad ng mga long-term na mga transactions na i-consider mo pa yung interest, i-consider mo pa yung present value of money. It's like yung 100 pesos mo ngayon, hindi na siya katulad sa purchasing power ng 100 pesos mo 5 years from now or 5 years ago. Mga things like that, no? Considering the inflation, etc. But again, if your receivable is just short term, then kung pila lang yun tong utang, yun na yun. Okay? Face amount. Huwag mo nang pahirapan sarili mo. Pero, it will be different if the receivable will be, or if the receivable is non-current. Okay? So, we are going to encounter that maybe in notes receivable kasi ibang notes, non-current yan, or your loans receivable in the point of view of the banks. Okay? Loans receivable. Malalaman natin. Most of the time, mga utang sa bank, di ba, long term. So, but as of now, accounts receivable, fair value initial measurement, the fair value is just equivalent to its face value or face amount. On subsequent measurement naman, so as if at the end of the reporting period, andyan pa rin yung receivable mo, so i-assess natin siya kung the same pa rin ba ang value ng receivable mo dun sa initial measurement. Kasi may mga times na mag-change siya, magdi-differ. First, of course, pag nakakollect ka, syempre, mababawasan yung receivable mo. And another thing naman na i-consider natin sa subsequent measurement are the allowances. The allowance for sales return, for freight charge, for doubtful accounts, which we are going to discuss in the next video, allowance for doubtful accounts. So, may mga items tayo in accounts receivable na medyo doubtful, medyo alanganin tayo na makollect. And observing the conservatism approach, we are not going to overstate our asset. That's why if may mga receivables tayong medyo alanganin tayo na makollect, then i-deduct natin siya kasi we are going to magiging play safe tayo pagdating sa asset. Kasi sabi ni prudence or ni conservatism, wag daw nating i-overstate ang asset. Kung feeling mo naman hindi na siya asset kasi wala ka ng confidence or the probability of not collecting the accounts receivable is high, then wag mo nang isipin na mako-collect mo pa siya. So, para safe, okay, tatanggalin natin siya. So, that concept naman will be discussed again or in detail on the next video, on chapter 5. So, with those ideas in mind, those concepts, let us answer our practice problems and let's begin with Dreamer Company. Well, the requirement is first, prepare one compound entry to reclassify the receivables account. So as you could notice, Dreamer Company has only one receivable account. Andun na lahat. Okay? Ginawa niya ng swimming pool ng lahat ng receivables, tong receivables na account niya. Andun na yung accounts receivable, notes, andun na yung mga advances, etc. which is hindi dapat. Okay? So, dapat ilagay natin sila sa mga dapat nilang kalagyan. May mga sariling bahay ang mga items na yan. So, a total of 2 million which is composed of these, okay, of the following. And, sabi niya pa, may allowance for doubtful accounts din na may credit balance na 50,000. So, buti pa yung allowance for doubtful accounts, ginawan niya ng sariling bahay. Yung iba dito, hindi niya ginawa ng sariling bahay. So, that is what we are going to make. We are going to have this correcting entry or reclassifying entry. So, first, accounts receivable. Andyan siya. Gawan natin siya ng sarili niyang bahay. Okay, specifically, yan. So, ibig sabihin, i-chop-chop natin tong 2 million na receivables account mo or ni Dreamer. Okay? Naging account mo bigla. Notes receivable naman, may sarili din yan siyang bahay. That's 100. Okay. And you have this. Installments receivable normally due 1 year to 2 years. Okay? Installments receivable, may sariling bahay din yan siya. Okay? Wag mo siyang ihalo dun sa iba. 300, 1, 2. And then, sabi pa dito, customers' accounts reporting credit balances arising from sales return. So, paano nangyayari na may credit balance si customer's account? Diba, customer's account, this is actually your accounts receivable. Ito yung account ni customer sa'yo. And the normal balance of your accounts receivable is supposed to be debit, right? Pero sabi niya dito, nagkaroon siya ng credit due to sales return. Let's have an example para makuha natin ng idea kung bakit siya nagka-credit account or credit balance, I mean. As if si customer nangutang sa'yo ng 100,000. So, your entry will be debit accounts receivable credit sales, tama? So, customer account, meron siyang 100,000 debit. And then, after a period of time, nagbayad siya ng 100,000. So, anong mangyayari? We are going to make an entry again, debit cash, credit accounts receivable at the amount of 100,000. So, looking at it, wala na dapat siyang utang. Yung accounts receivable na 100,000, binayaran niya na din. So, eliminated na deduct na siya. So, zero na ang account ni customer. Wala na siyang utang. But, suddenly, nag-return siya ng merchandise. Maybe defective or maling merchandise pinadala natin or di natin alam kung ano yung mga reason niya. Basta, may sales return na nangyari. And how are we going to record sales return? We debit sales return, we credit accounts receivable. So, if you're going to picture it out, ang accounts receivable niya, ato na pong gi-credit. Di ba nag-zero na unta to? Gi-credit na po na to. Let's just say 30,000 ang sales return. Gi-credit na tong 30,000. So, what happens here? Ang iyahang account na anay credit balance of 30,000. And that 30,000 worth of merchandise na binigay niya, that is a liability on our part. Liability in a sense na nakabayad na siya sa atog 100,000, pero gibalik man sad niya ang merchandise, we are supposed to make a refund, okay, of the 30,000 merchandise na binalik niya sa atin. So, that is a liability on our part kasi hindi pa natin nabigay ang refund. So, if that's the case, we are going to credit, let's just say, customer's account or customer's credit balance. Ganyan na lang. Again, naka-credit siya. It is a liability and it's in the amount of 30,000. Next, advance payments for purchase of merchandise. Ito naman, ang point of view natin dito, tayo yung customer. Okay? Tayo yung customer. Nagbigay tayo ng advance payment kay supplier worth 150,000. So, ibig sabihin, si supplier may obligation na mag-deliver ng stocks or ng inventories sa atin. Okay, binayaran na natin and that would be an asset on our part kasi meron tayong parang prepayment na nangyari, di ba? So, let's just say advances to suppliers. Nagbayad ta before pa niya gi-deliver. So, natay singlunon sa iyaha nga 150,000 worth of merchandise. Next, customers' accounts reporting credit balances arising from advance payment. Ito naman, binaliktad lang ang coin. This time, tayo naman yung supplier. Si customer natin, nag-advance payment. Therefore, meron tayong obligation na mag-deliver sa kanya ng merchandise kasi nagbayad na siya. And if that's an obligation, that's a credit. Okay? And let's just call this advances from customers. So, kung kanina, advances to suppliers, kasi tayo yung customer na point of view, this time, tayo na yung supplier. Yung customer naman natin ang nag-advance payment, 20,000. Next, cash advance to subsidiary. And let's call these advances to subsidiary. This is actually a long-term investment. Subsidiary, mo ni siya kadtong murag company nga imuhang anak-anak. Okay? This is a second company that you own, which is actually, this is the company owned by one company. So, kibali, anak siya sa usa ka dako pod na kumpanya. That's why, katong dako na kumpanya, we call it parent company or parent corporation. Katong iyahang gi-acquire nga company, okay, you call it subsidiary. Okay? So, hierarchical, makita nato, na nasa taas si parent tapos may anak siyang subsidiary. What if si parent na corporation, marami siyang biniling corporation, so naging anak niya din yon. So what if binili niya si corporation A, binili niya rin si corporation B, binili niya rin si corporation C, so ang dami niyang subsidiaries, okay? Yung mga A, yung subsidiaries na yun, ang tawag nila sa isa't isa, affiliates. Affiliates is simply magkakapatid na company. Magkakapatid sila in a sense na meron silang parehong parent company. Okay? So, si A, kapatid niya si B, kapatid niya si C. The same goes with B and C. So, tawag sa kanila, affiliates. Okay? So, mamaya, maybe, may encounter natin yung mga advances to affiliates. So, just an overview kung ano siya. 400,000. So, receivable pa rin, pero, this is most of the time non-current to. Investment mo yun dun sa subsidiary mo. So, it will stay sa subsidiary company for a longer period of time para magamit niya naman ng bonggang-bongga. You see, 400,000. Next, claim from insurance entity. Let's just call this claims receivable. And most of the time, current asset to siya. 15,000. Current asset. Subscriptions receivable due in 60 days. Just a review, subscriptions receivable is a shareholder's equity account, right? And if the problem is silent, pag hindi niya sinabi kung kailan due, kailan mababayaran ang subscriptions receivable, the idea or the presumption is hindi siya mababayaran for the next 12 months. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya current. At kapag hindi current si subscriptions receivable, hindi mo siya makikita sa asset section. Saan siya makikita? Sa shareholders equity section, contra equity account. Ibig sabihin, idididak mo yan siya kay subscribed share capital. I know na nadaanan na natin. Ang klamis. We have encountered this before naman, di ba? So just a recap. If silent, shareholders equity contra, idididak. Pag sinabi niya talaga na current asset, then that's the time na ilalagay natin siya sa asset. Pero same, subscriptions receivable pa rin ang tawag. The presentation lang ang mag-iiba. And that is 300,000. And lastly, your accrued interest receivable, and most of the time, this is current. So, ayan. And lastly, syempre kasi, gusto na nating alisin ang receivables account mo na general, okay? Gusto na nato ni bungkagon, kay ato na siyang gi-distribute sa sakto niya nga mga account titles or sakto niya nga mga accounts. Okay? So, ato na siyang bungkagon or ato na siyang i-recognize. So, we credit it para mawala na. So, may balance siyang 2 million, tapos kinredit din nating 2 million, so mawawala na. So, asa naman padulong ang 2 million, ma'am? Dara na, gi-chop-chop na nato, gi-distribute na nato sa iyang mga proper accounts. So, that is requirement number, or letter A, compound entry to reclassify these accounts. And letter B, compute the amount to be presented as trade and other receivables. So, na-discuss naman natin kanina, accounts receivable and notes, these are the common trade accounts receivable. So, yan. Pero sabi niya, and other receivables na current assets. So, isasali din natin kahit yung mga non-trade, basta current. Sabi niya, trade and other. So, trade and non-trade, basta current. Installments receivable, this could also be a trade receivable kung ang binenta mo, yung inventory mo. Pero kung yung binenta mo is yung old equipment mo, tapos binenta mo na installment ang term, then hindi siya trade. Kasi yung binenta mo, hindi naman inventory. But, sabi niya, normally due 1 to 2 years. So, there's a probability na magiging current siya. So, we are going to include this as current asset, pero non-trade. Okay, let's just assume na non-trade siya. Or pwede din, again ha, I'm not closing the possibility na magiging trade receivable din siya. Kung ang binenta mo inventory, tapos ginawang installment ang term. Advances to suppliers, we consider this as current asset din. Sige. Ayaw naman natin siguro na next year or the next 2 years pa, 2 years after pa mag-deliver si supplier. So, wala na tay inventory kung inga nakadugay yung delivery. Advances to subsidiary, I mentioned it this a while ago, this is non-current. Okay? Generally non-current. Ito, current pero non-trade. Ito naman, current din, but again, non-trade. Subscriptions receivable, sinabi niya dito due in 60 days, so magiging current din siya. But again, non-trade. And your accounts receivable, current but non-trade. But wait, wag nating kalimutan na meron tayong doubtful accounts na allowance. And as we all know, that is a contra asset account. Which type of asset? Contra accounts receivable. Tama? And if that's contra, we are going to deduct that one. And that is, how much? 50. Ayan, 50,000. So, wala na. So, our total, or let's just name this one, trade and other receivables. So, ito yung mag-a-appear sa notes to financial statement natin under trade and other receivables na line item. And that is 1.6 million. Okay? Ito yung a-appear sa face ng financial statement or face ng statement of financial position. And this specific amounts or figures and accounts will appear to your notes. Lastly, letter C, indicate the classification and presentation of the other items excluded. So, yung mga hindi daw natin sinali, hindi ko na lang siguro isusulat. Anyway, sinabi ko naman na kanina, ito will serve as a non-current asset, a long-term investment. Ito naman, these are liabilities, current liabilities. Okay? So, yan. I-classify daw natin kung bakit hindi natin sila sinali. Now, let's proceed to problem -2. Kung medyo hindi nyo naman na-gets si 4-1, take a deep breath. Wag na muna kayong mag-proceed sa 4-2. You pause the video and then you review bago kayo mag-proceed. Okay? But ako, mag-proceed na ako. Let's have credible company. The requirement first, we're going to compute the correct amount of accounts receivable. Okay. And then we're going to prepare compound entry, computation, and classification. Credible company provided the following T account. So actually, T account to siya. Nawala yung T dito. So meron dapat yung chink at saka yung paganyan. So these items na nandito sa right or left, are the debits, and dito naman sa right are the credits. So sorry po, hindi na na-scan yung T account. So ito yung summary, and tingnan natin. If you could see, may mga advances na naman na nandyan na hindi dapat kasali sa accounts receivable. May mga specific accounts dapat yan sila. So may mga mali-mali na namang pagkaka-record, kaya naman tayo na naman ang magko-correct. Okay, so compute natin yung correct amount ng accounts receivable. And let us start with our accounts receivable beginning. And that is 600,000. Okay? And then we have, what else? Charge sales. Mga additional receivables mo during the year. And, okay, lagay natin siya dito. And that's a total of 6.6. Tama? Sige. But, hindi pa yan siya ang ending balance because we have here the deductions. Of course, first, we are going to deduct our collections. Okay? And how much is our collection? We have 5.3 million collections. We have 5.3. And we also have these write-offs. Ibig sabihin ng mga accounts written off, sila yung mga account na sure na hindi na natin mako-collect. At first, 'di ba, medyo doubtful pa. So parang we are still hopeful na okay lang kahit parang medyo hindi mo na mababayaran, friend, pero hopeful pa rin akong mako-collect mo kaya lalagay ko muna sa allowance para medyo parang 50-50. 50% ma-collect, 50% hindi. Parang ganon. Pero this time, you are more than sure na hindi na siya makakapagbayad. So maybe andyan na yung mga evidences like na bankrupt na yung company niya or what, kaya hindi na siya makakapagbayad. Alisin mo na sa accounts receivable, wag ka nang umasa. And then we also have a deduction your returns. Siyempre, pag binalik sa'yo yung merchandise, hindi na yan babayaran ni customer. Alangan naman maningil ka pa. Binalik niya na. And, saan pa ba? Allowances to customers for shipping damages. So, I believe, kasali din to. Okay? Deduction mo din to sa accounts receivable mo. Parang allowance for doubtful accounts lang din ang tawag sa kanya. Pero hindi siya doubtful account. Allowance mo doon sa shipping damages. So, maybe maybe magloko ang ship or what, no? And along the way, magkakaroon ng mga damages. And then, magrereklamo si customer. 'Di ba? Familiar ba, Shopee? JNT? May mga nagrereklamo ba sa inyo? Ayan. And that would be a total of lahat ng deductions mo ay 5.4 million. And 6.6 minus 5.4, that's 1.2 million balance of your accounts receivable. So this will be your accounts receivable. Ay, ano nangyari? Accounts receivable and, okay, this is the computational, parang formula type, but I want to introduce to you this one, the T account. Okay, tingnan natin kung paano natin maa-analyze ang balances ng mga accounts using the T account. So, during my undergrad, ito yung tinuturo talaga sa amin. So, medyo naging, hindi naman expert, pero compared to this kind of analysis, I find this way easier. So, let's analyze the account using the accounts receivable. Actually, the same lang naman siya. Well, gusto ko lang siya i-introduce. Maybe sometime soon magamit nyo din siya. So, debit balance is the normal balance of your accounts receivable, and the credit side is the contra. That would be the transactions or the events that would deduct or reduce your accounts receivable. So, let's begin with your beginning balance of 600. And may nadagdag na 6 million. So, this is based on your journal entry. Kasi pag may charge or credit sales, 'di ba, debit, accounts receivable, credit sales. So, andyan din siya sa debit. Pag nagbayad ka, ki-credit mo yung accounts receivable mo. So, medyo ngayon, parang ano lang man, ma'am, parang copy lang man. Oo, pero later, pag wala to, marirealize mo na napaka-helpful ng T-account. So, ito yung write-offs, iaalis mo siya sa accounts receivable, so i-credit. Ito naman yung mga binalik na merchandise, so i-credit mo din. Ito yung allowance for your shipment or damages for shipping. So, i-credit mo din. So, getting the total of both sides and getting the difference between the two naman, that's 6.6 minus the credit, you have here 1.2 million as your balance. Ending balance. So, it's just the same here. So, mag-copy lang limo, ma'am. Yes. Pero, again, magiging useful yan siya mamaya. Okay? So, looking at here, pwede ta makakreate og idea. What are the items na dinidebit or kinakredit natin sa accounts receivable? So, let me show you naman dito. Wag nang puro words. Wag nang puro figures. Gamitin natin or gumawa tayo ng summary. Okay? Okay lang ba 'yon? Summary. what are the items na dinedebit natin sa accounts receivable? Basically, we will see there first the beginning balance. Beginning balance. And then eventually, what will increase our accounts receivable? Those charge or credit sales. Along the way, baka may mga madagdag din tayo, di ba? So, as of now, ito lang muna. And the credit or those items na makakapag-reduce ng accounts receivable mo, you have the basic, the collections, pag nakapagbayad sila. Ano tong 35 nga ulit? These are the accounts written off. Yung 40, these are your sales returns or the merchandise returns. 25, this is your allowance for shipping damages. Okay? And then, eventually, ito naman yung magiging ending balance. So, ito muna. But along the way, may mga madadagdag dyan. So, take note of that. Let us have this time letter B. Prepare one compound entry to adjust the accounts receivable. I-adjust natin, ibig sabihin, tatanggalin natin yung mga wala or hindi dapat kasali sa accounts receivable. So, itong mga items na to. First, you have your subscriptions. Subscriptions receivable. You have a debit of 200, but kung titingnan naman natin dun sa credit, may na-collect na palang 50,000. Ayun, collection on subscriptions. Therefore, the balance na lang is 120 minus the collection of 50, that's 70,000. Next, we also have deposits or deposit on contract in the amount of 120,000. Okay? Ay, mali pala. Hindi pala yung 120 si subscriptions. Sorry, 200,000 pala si subscriptions minus 50,000. Okay. And then, next we have claims. Claims receivable. And that is 100,000. Kaya lang, looking at the credit side, may na-collect na palang 40. Okay, so dapat 60,000 na lang ang balance. Kasi yung mga collections, dito niya rin kinredit sa accounts receivable. Ang galing. And then, meron tayong IOUs from employees. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng IOU? Ibig sabihin nun, utang. I owe you my life. Utang ko sa'yo buhay mo. So, sabi ng IOUs from employees, sabi ni employee, may utang ako sa'yo. So, kung si employee may utang, tayo naman may asset kasi may sisingilin tayo from the employee. Let's just call it advances to employees. Parang cash advance, no? Advances to employees, that's 10,000. And cash advance to affiliates, ito na yung sinabi ko kanina na affiliates. Advances to affiliates. And just like your advances to subsidiaries, these are long-term investments. 1, 2, 3. And lastly, advances to suppliers. This is an asset on our part and a liability on the part of our supplier. And tanggalin natin sila kay accounts receivable. Hindi sila dapat kasali dun sa accounts receivable. So, dapat may sariling bahay sila, specific, and that is 490. So, we credit accounts receivable. Inalis natin sila. And requirement letter C. The amount to be presented as trade and other receivables. So, we are going to, determine saan dito yung trade, saan naman dito yung non-trade. So, first, of course, your accounts receivable, that is trade. And that's 1.2 million. And then, what else? Ito, silent siya, right? Hindi niya sinabi kung kailan mako-collect. So, we are going to assume that this is not current. Okay? It will not be collected on the next 12 months. So, magiging contra equity account to. Dito na mo deposit on contract, generally, non-current din to. Okay? And then, your claims, this is non-trade, but current. Ang hinahanap, trade and non-trade na current. So, kasali yan. Also, your advances, your advances to employees. So, how are we going to treat these advances to employees? Actually, these advances to employees are also considered as non-trade but current. So, kailangan bayaran agad ni employee yung utang niya. And lastly, you have here your advances to suppliers, and that's 50,000. Therefore, a total of 1.32 million for your trade and other receivables. Again, ito yung mag-a-appear sa trade and other receivables line item on the statement of financial position. And on the fourth classification na naman and presentation yung nung mga hindi na include. Ito nasabi ko na, contra she. Ito naman non-current asset. Etong affiliates, the same, non-current asset. This could be your long-term investment. Ito, pwede na siyang maging other non-current asset. Unless kung ano bang meron dun sa contract na yun, 'di ba? So, you're going to investigate muna. And then, ayan, yan lang naman ang hindi natin in-include. And your advances to affiliates, another long-term investment, non-current asset. And that's 4-2. Again, if medyo paspas ra, then you could pause the video and take time to breathe. Let's go to 4-3. Marami-rami pa pala. 4-3, we have affectionate company who sold merchandise on account for 500,000. And the terms are 310 and 30. So this time, we're going to prepare journal entries based on the following shipping terms or freight terms. So, just a review, destination, ibig sabihin, ang magsushoulder ng shipping fee, si seller, hanggat sa dumating ang shipment dun sa destination. And the destination is the buyer's area. Okay? So, si seller magsushoulder. Shipping point naman, si buyer ang magsushoulder from the shipping point. So, siyang magsushoulder, siya magbabayad. Freight collect, who actually paid? Sino ba talaga ang nagbayad? Freight collect, ibig sabihin, ang nagbayad is yung kung kinsa tong gideliveran. So, most probably si buyer. Freight collect. So, magiging parang, cash on delivery, COD. Freight prepaid naman, yung nagbayad si seller. So, hindi pa na-deliver kay buyer, binayaran na ni seller in advance. Okay? So, destination, shipping point, freight collect, freight prepaid. For number 1, FOB destination. FOB destination, ibig sabihin, si seller ang magbabayad. Let's begin. We sold merchandise on account, utang. That's accounts receivable. And destination daw, so tayo, seller, ang magbabayad. So we recognize freight out. And then, sales. So, accounts receivable is 500. Freight out is 10. And then, sales naman is 500. And, freight collect, sino ang nagbayad? Ang nagbayad, si buyer. Sino dapat ang magbayad? Destination, seller. So, if that's the case, gagawa muna tayo ng allowance for freight charge. Makikita natin kung anong magiging effect nitong allowance for freight charge. Before, during our basic accounting, dinideduct natin siya kaagad. Dinideduct natin siya agad kay accounts receivable. And what do I mean by that? Ibig sabihin yan, yung accounts receivable niya magiging 490,000 na lang, and then ito, wala na to. Okay? Wala na yan. Yung sales na 500 as is, pero yung babayaran ni buyer is 490 na lang kasi siya ang nagtapal sa shipping fee nga dapat si seller ang magbayad. Pero in this item, we are going to recognize an allowance muna. What if hindi nagbayad si buyer? So, paalig-alig lang si buyer, hindi niya rin pala babayaran. So, ayan. Next, what will happen pag nagbayad na si buyer? So, sabi doon, the account was collected within the discount period. Ayan, dasig kayo si buyer. So, nagbayad siya within the discount period, and because of that, we are going to recognize sales discount. So, and eliminate the accounts receivable kasi nagbayad na siya. So, nagbayad siya ng 490,000. And then, how much is the discount? Your discount is actually based on your sales. Kaya nga siya tinatawag na sales discount. Kasi magbe-base siya sa sales. What do I mean by this? Hindi pa siya na-change. That's 500. Hindi siya magbe-base kung magkano ang receivables. Okay? Magbe-base siya kung magkano ang sales mo. So, that means that's 500. Okay. That's 500 times 3% and that is 19,000. Okay? And then, allowance for freight charge. Kailangan na natin siyang i-zero out kasi nagbayad na si seller. I mean, dumating na yung shipment kay buyer. So, that's 10,000. We have utang na 500. Yan, utang yan ni buyer. Pero, naka-avail siya ng discount. Woohoo! That's 15. And, ning tapal pag yun siya sa shipping fee. Therefore, ang iyang ibayad na lang sa atua is 475. Take note, ang 3% mo, hindi siya magbe-base dun sa 500 minus 10. Hindi siya magbe-base dun sa 490 ha. Magbe-base siya dito. Okay? Second, FOB destination and freight prepaid. So, destination, tayo pa rin ang dapat na magbayad. So, we're going to expect na ganito pa rin yung magiging entry natin. Pero sabi niya, freight prepaid. Tayo dapat ang magbayad, kaya ayan, freight out. Tayo din ang nagbayad. Therefore, we credit sales on the same amount, 10,000. If ganito yung case, pag walay magtapal-tapal, nako, smooth masyado ang transaction. Pag nagbayad na si seller, simple lang. Lagyan mo lang dyan ng cash, sales discount. Nagbayad na si buyer, si seller magbabayad. And accounts receivable, wala ka i-deduct na allowance kasi ikaw din naman ang nagbayad ng ng shipping fee. So, sales discount is again 500,000 times 3%. We have 500,000 as accounts receivable eliminated and the net amount of that is 485. So, see the difference. Dito, 485 ang na-collect. Yung first, 475. Bakit may difference na 10,000? Kasi si buyer ang nagtapal sa 10,000. Number 3, shipping point, freight collect. Shipping point, sinong magbabayad? Buyer. So, that means wala tayong problema. It's a simple debit accounts receivable credit sales on the amount of 500,000. The moment na nagbayad si buyer, the same. You have cash, sales discount, and then eliminate your accounts receivable. Ganun pa rin, 485 dito, 15 ang discount, and eliminate the 500,000. Simple lang. Hindi nag-appear dito yung freight. Kasi si buyer naman talaga ang obligated na magbayad at siya din ang nagbayad. Like, very good. So, ibig sabihin, sa books ni buyer, mag-a-appear ang freight. So, magre-record siya ng freight in. Lastly, number 4, shipping point. Siya pa rin ang magbabayad. So, accounts receivable. Kaso, freight prepaid ang nangyari. Ibig sabihin, siya dapat magbabayad. Pero ang nangyari, tayo ang nagbayad. Therefore, nagpalabas tayo ng 10,000 cash. And then, may sales tayong 500. Therefore, ang sisingilin natin na amount kay buyer is 510. Siya ang dapat na magbayad, pero tayo ang nagbayad. So, the moment na magbabayad na si buyer sa atin, we are going to expect na ang mabayaran niya is mas malaki. Kasi, tayo yung nagbayad sa obligation na siya dapat ang magbayad. So, accounts receivable na i-eliminate, it's 510. Okay? Compared to the previous scenarios, 500 lang lagi yung kinikredit. This time, 510 based on the first entry na 510. Your sales discount, always yan, base sa sales. Sales of 500. Regardless, again, babalikin. Again, re-remind ko kayo, it will always be based on sales, not on the accounts receivable balance. 515. Yung cash na babayaran niya this time is 495. So, see the difference. 495, 485. Paano naging mas malaki to ng 10,000? Kasi may obligation siyang magbayad sa atin sa shipping fee na kitaang ni Tapal. Okay, so that is problem 4-3. The next problems like 4-4, 5, 6, 7, let us have this on the next video. So, again, if medyo napay gikalibugan sa mga previous na problems, you could pause for a moment, you could review the video, and then take time to analyze everything. Okay? So, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you on the next video.